In this episode of R.age, we meet transsexual Leona Lo, who tells us about her life and her new play, unabashedly called The Ah Kua Show. We also speak to Singaporeans who tell us what they really think about transsexuals.
Like when you see a transsexual walk down, you just call them bapok or something, and people try to shun them away.
I think it's morally or ethically wrong. It's beyond me to accept.
Aquas, bapoks, bundans, trannies, butchers, and tomboys. These are just some of the terms that people use on men who dress as women, and vice versa.
The general term would be bapok.
But one transsexual has had enough of what she calls verbal abuse. She is set to stage a play about her life, partly to educate the public about transsexuals, and partly to exercise her own demons. Her play is unabashedly called The Ah Kua Show and is set to run at the Substation from August the 6th to August the 8th. The play dramatizes different aspects of her life, from the confusion she felt growing up differently from others, to the discrimination she says she's been subjected to by potential employers. According to her, Singapore is a lot more backward in its attitudes towards transgendered people compared to other Asian countries.
Look at Japan, they have their first transsexual MP. Look at Korea, we have Harisu, the Korean singer who's happily married right now.
Turn off my phone.
Look at China, we have Jing Xing, the most famous choreographer and dancer in China. She was a colonel in the Communist Party. So there's a lot of openness and acceptance apart from countries like Singapore and Hong Kong, which is strange, isn't it? Yeah.
What about in Thailand? Are they more open to transsexuals?
That's a misconception that Thailand is the country of the lady boy performers and therefore they are more open and tolerant. That's not true at all, because transsexuals in Thailand have no legal recognition of their status, whereas in Singapore we were one of the first countries to recognize sexually reassigned transsexuals in their new gender. But in Thailand there's no legal recognition whatsoever. They're just performers, and their whole life they are being relegated to that performing field, and that doesn't help them at all. A lot of them want to lead ordinary lives, get married, but the government doesn't recognize. But slowly they are reaching that stage.
I mean, you talk about discrimination, but then when, for instance, Kumar decides to stage a one-man show, the tickets are sold out, which seems to suggest that at some degree people accept transsexuals. Or do you think that's a myth?
But Kumar is not a transsexual. Kumar doesn't even identify as anything in particular. So to the outside world, if you are Jack Neo playing Liang Po Po, you're just playing a role. But when you actually cross over, then it becomes frightening for them. I think therein lies the problem. Yeah, as long as you're just playing, they can justify it. But if you're not playing that role and you're actually that role, that person, it becomes a bit more frightening for them.
What do you mean when you actually have gone for gender reassignment, for sex change? That becomes something else?
Yes. If you are a gay, for example, you can pass as straight. You can be a gay artist in TCS. You can just insist that you're straight. But if you're transsexual, and this, I'm just quoting the exact same line in my play, where can you hide? It's out in the open. So of course we take the flag. We in a way we are the punching bags of being different, because we are obviously different.
Do you find that there is change in the way people treat you before, in the 80s and 90s and now? Or have people become more open-minded?
I think it's interesting. Because I'm so loud and proud, I only attract people who are already okay with who I am and feel that it's a non-issue. Certainly there are a lot of people who still think that they're not comfortable, and they don't give themselves the opportunity to get to know me better as a person, and they form their own judgments beforehand, and so perhaps I don't get any business from these people. And the discrimination is often passive. They will give you a PR line like, oh, there were too many good candidates for us to choose from, and you never know if it's because they have an issue with your gender identity. I feel that employers could perhaps really try to overcome their own prejudices and get to know the employees for who they are, employees for who they are, and hire them based on merit alone. And they would often find that transgender individuals who have struggled a lot in life tend to be, I would dare say, more loyal and more sincere, because they really need the job. And there are many enlightened companies like Body Shop and MAC, from what I know, who do hire transgender individuals, and their customers are perfectly fine with that.
In the next clip, Leona talks about being thrown out of a bar for being a lady boy.